The BRICS nations, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have banded together as a way to dethrone the United States and the United States dollar. But that's nothing new. However, it looks like tensions are starting to heat up because very recently, President Trump went out and he made an announcement about the BRICS nations. And he said that those BRICS countries could see a potential 100% tariff, quote, if they want to play games with the United States dollar. Well, after hearing that, the BRICS nations weren't very happy. In fact, the Brazil president went out to say, quote, BRICS is committed to ending United States dollar dominance no matter what. And then at a later time, he also said, quote, US President Donald Trump's threats of tariffs won't stop the group's determination to seek alternative platforms for payments between member countries. In other words, BRICS wants to replace the United States dollar as the world's reserve currency, which might have you wondering, what does it mean to be the world's reserve currency? Because in 1944, the United States dollar became the world's reserve currency, which gave it a ton of power. Let me read you what it means to be a world's reserve currency. This means that that currency, the United States dollar, is widely held by central banks around the world, and it's used for international trade and financial transactions. Essentially what that means is if you are the world's reserve currency, the world believes that your currency, your dollar, has value, and many commodities are being forced to trade with that dollar. In English, what that means is if you want to buy oil around the world, you have to buy it with the United States dollar. And oil is a global commodity. Everybody needs it. And if you have to buy it with the dollar, that gives the dollar some sort of value because everybody has to use that dollar. Because remember, our dollars are not backed by physical gold. It's not backed by anything physical. It's a piece of paper that says it has value. It's called a fiat currency because it is a promise by the government that says, hey, this $100 bill has value. It has buying power. And the reason why it has buying power is because not only the government says so, but people believe that the dollar has buying power. Well, the big reason why people believe that the dollar has so much buying power is because it's the world's reserve currency. The whole world recognizes that. And if the world stopped recognizing that, well, you can start to see why that's a problem. This is why Trump very aggressively responded by saying, quote, BRICS states they're trying to destroy our dollar. They wanted to create a new currency. So when I came in, the first thing I said was any BRICS state that even mentions the destruction of the dollar will be charged a 150% tariff. And we don't want your goods, and the BRICS states just broke up. So essentially Trump is saying that we're not gonna take any of that. We're not gonna play any of these games, which is why he's been very aggressive about it. Now, this is where things get interesting because some countries are retaliating. Some countries are trying to come up with ways to try to beat the dollar. But this is where I want you to understand what's going on. That way you can be a smarter investor. Again, I've been talking about this for a while. We're seeing a lot of changes happen in 2025. We're seeing changes with our government. We're seeing changes with economic policy. We're seeing changes with DOGE. We're seeing changes with tariffs. And we're also seeing changes with technology. This is one of the reasons why on March 11th, I'm hosting a free workshop where I'm going over what are the changes that we're seeing in our economy and how do these things create investment opportunities? Because all of these changes do create an investment opportunity, and that's what I'm going over on this workshop. It's live, it's free. I'm hosting it twice on March 11th, once in the morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and again in the evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you'd like to join me, you just have to reserve your spot because we have a limited number of spots available. That's just what the software says. And I have the link for you to join down in the description below. But the thing that you want to understand now is what does this mean for you as an investor? Well, there's a few things. Number one is there are certain assets that move because of this. For example, take a look at gold. We've been seeing gold prices soar in the last 24 months. And part of the reason for that is because the central banks around the world, especially with these BRICS countries, have been buying up gold as a way to strengthen their currencies, as a way to back their currencies. Now, the United States government is still supposedly the largest owner of gold in the world, but you can start to see how things can move based off of these geopolitics. In addition, we've been seeing changes happen in our economy and the stock market because of concerns about tariffs. If there is more move by these BRICS countries and Trump does impose higher or stronger tariffs, well, that could impact the stock market. Not to mention the fact that there could be worries about the strength of the dollar. If you've been taking a look at the bond market at all, you've seen that the bond market has moved quite a bit. Now, when I talk about bonds, I mean lending money to the United States government. This is called a treasury. And this has been known as the risk-free investment. If you read any economics textbook, what it will tell you is that if you lend money to the United States government, you're guaranteed to get your money back because the United States is backed by the full faith and credit of the government, meaning it's backed by the taxpayers and the ability to print money. And so if you lend $100 to the government, you should, in theory, always get that money back plus interest. So lending money to the government is considered a risk-free return. Well, what we've been seeing is people have been concerned about the dollar. People have been concerned about inflation. People are also starting to get concerned about the stock market, which has been creating a lot of confusion for investors. And at the same time, people are starting to get concerned about the dollar. Now, concerns about the dollar are not new. I want to make sure we're on the same page about this. This is not a new phenomenon that just started 5 years ago. This has been happening for many decades. And there's always been threats because when you're at the top, regardless of what you're doing, people will want to bring you down. And it's the exact same when you are an economy or a country. I'm going to recommend your book here. This is a topic that Ray Dalio, who is the founder of the largest hedge fund in the world, Bridgewater, wrote. The name of the book is Principles for Dealing with the Changing World Order. If you have not read that book, I highly recommend you read it. I'm not sponsored by him or anything. It's just a very interesting book that I read where he talks about the rise and decline of nations. And one of the leading causes of this is the reserve currency. And he goes through centuries of time, talks about how every country, every civilization, every empire goes through the same phases of starting off being innovative, being hardworking, and then as you start to grow, well, you want to grow faster because you love the idea of growing, and that's when you start printing money. And when you start printing money, well, now you can start to grow faster because, well, you are the reserve currency and people believe in the value of that currency, and so people work for that currency, and then the economy grows even faster until you start to see the impacts of inflation, because then people start to doubt the value of that currency because people are working for these dollars, but those dollars are not buying you as much stuff. And that then begins the decline of that currency. And what's interesting is he talks about that there are ways to extend the lifespan of a reserve currency. There are ways to extend the lifespan of an empire, but there is pain associated with that because that means that you might have to reduce government spending. It might mean that you have to reduce certain benefits out there, which means people might not get some income, which is painful. But this is the same pattern that we've seen play out time and time again. And what he says is that the average empire, that churn lasts somewhere between 50 to 100 years. Well, the United States dollar became the world's reserve currency in 1944. So we're not at 100 years yet, but you can start to see how the United States empire is starting to get a little bit older, which has some people concerned. Now, the other part to this that you want to understand really has to go to a little bit of history. Because if we take a look at how our economy and how our money has evolved, well, it's interesting on one hand, but it also helps you understand what's going on with our money today, because our economy really shifted in 2 years. The first year was 1913. 1913 was interesting because that was when our central bank, the Federal Reserve Bank, was created. They had the power to essentially print money. I mean, it's called monitoring the monetary supply, but in essence, it's printing money to lend to the United States government. But what's interesting about that time is that back then, if the Federal Reserve Bank wanted to print more money, they needed to see more collateral at the United States government. And this collateral was physical gold. But then in the early 1970s, that changed because in 1970, 1971, the United States government had a lot of debts that they needed to pay back, but they didn't have the money to pay those debts. Now, remember what I said just a couple of minutes ago. The United States government is supposed to be a risk-free investment, that you can lend money to the United States government and always get your money back. So if the United States government were to default, that would create panic around the world. Remember, they're the world's reserve currency. And so to prevent that panic, then President Richard Nixon in 1971 temporarily took the dollar off of the gold standard. That way, the dollar and gold became separate. The dollar became a piece of paper and physical gold was real money, but it's separate. This gave the Federal Reserve Bank the authority and ability to essentially print money out of thin air, print unlimited amounts of money. So now the United States government had all these bills that they needed to pay, and the Federal Reserve Bank could now write a blank check to the United States government. The United States government took that blank check and paid off all their bills, and now, voila, no more bankruptcy, no more default, all the bills are paid. The money came out of thin air, but the bills are gone. And this is where you might be wondering, well, if we can just print all this money out of thin air, why are we paying taxes in the first place? Well, there is a cost to this. Remember, the most expensive kind of money is free money. After the 1971 whole issue, we also saw a ton of inflation. The late 1970s saw some of the highest inflation that we have seen in the century. According to economists, the inflation that we saw post-pandemic was still not as high as the inflation that we saw in the late 1970s, early 1980s. And that was when, in order to correct this problem, we saw very high interest rates. Mortgage rates went up close to 20%, between 15, 16, 17, and 18% as a way to cool down the inflation problem. So there are a lot of changes happening in the economy. There's a lot of changes happening with the currency. I don't want you to panic when this happens. I want you to understand what's happening. That way you can make smarter decisions with your money. That way you can find the opportunity, because all these changes also create opportunity. I know on the internet, a lot of times it's very easy to get caught up in the emotions and the fear and the panic and the excitement. But in reality, all of these things can create opportunity for those that are, number one, financially educated. Number two, those that understand what's happening. And then number three, those that have the money to actually capitalize on those opportunities. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to understand what's happening, build your financial education while understanding how these things create opportunities, that we can actually win in this economic system, because our economic system is designed to benefit investors. And if you don't understand that, well, you're going to be left behind. That's why I want you to understand what's happening, because unfortunately, most people just caught up in the emotions. So a lot of changes happening in the economy, a lot of changes happening with our dollar. And if you want to stay up to date on what's happening, again, I have a few resources for you. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can join Market Briefs, which is my free financial newsletter. I have that link for you down in the description. And you can also join me on my workshop on March 11th. That link for you is also down in the description. And with that, I'll see you on YouTube tomorrow.